Long before a single headline panicked the streets of London or modern mysteries filled your feed, a dark shadow fell over the American South. A shadow so elusive, so quiet, that history almost forgot its name. The year is 1911, Atlanta, Georgia, a city booming with energy, progress, and the bright glow of newly installed gas lights. But just beyond that glow, in the unlit alleyways, something else was waiting. It started on a cold Saturday night. A young woman was walking home, just minutes away from her front porch. She never made it. No screams were heard, no struggle was reported. When dawn broke, the neighborhood woke up to a chilling discovery: a life cut short, left in the morning dew. The police called it an isolated incident, a tragic, random act of a passing stranger. They told the public there was nothing to fear, but they were wrong, because exactly 1 week later, as the weekend fog rolled back into the city, by the shadow
of 1911, a terrifying pattern had emerged. Every single weekend, as soon as night fell on Saturday, fear gripped the heart of Atlanta. Another person would vanish from the streets, only to be found hours later when the night air cleared. The local newspapers finally gave the phantom a name that sent shivers down the spines of every resident: the Atlanta Ripper. The police were baffled. This wasn't just a random criminal. This was someone who moved like a ghost. He knew the dark corners of the city better than the patrol officers. He knew exactly when the gas lights would flicker and exactly when the streets would empty out. Detectives noted something deeply disturbing. There were no signs of robbery. Expensive jewelry and purses were left untouched. The motivation wasn't wealth. It was something far more sinister: the thrill of the chase and the ultimate control over life and death. As the number of vanished souls reached double digits, the city demanded answers. Hundreds of men were questioned. The jails were full. But every time the police thought they had their man, Saturday night
into paranoia. Neighbors looked at neighbors with suspicion. The city implemented a strict curfew, but the Ripper didn't care about rules. In fact, he seemed to enjoy the challenge. That's when the letters started arriving. The police chief received a note written in elegant, precise handwriting. It didn't contain demands, it contained details, intimate details about the nights when the light went out for those poor souls. Details that only the person in the shadows could possibly know. The writer taunted the authorities, claiming he was a gentleman by day, but a collector of fates by night. He promised he would never stop until his collection was complete. Eyewitness accounts from those who barely escaped spoke of a tall, well-dressed man wearing a long black coat and a wide-brimmed hat, blending seamlessly into the wealthy crowds during the day, only to transform when darkness took over. The police realized they weren't looking for a monster from the slums. They were hunting someone for high society.
To 1912, the weekly nightmare came to an abrupt, unexplainable end. Saturday nights returned to being quiet. The fog rolled in, but it no longer carried the shadow in the long black coat. The Atlanta Ripper simply vanished. No final letter, no grand exit. This sudden peace brought more questions than answers. Why did he stop? Did he leave the city? Did he meet his own grim fate in secrecy? Or was he locked away for a completely different offense, his true identity kept hidden from the world? The police department, eager to clear their reputation, slowly buried the case files. They claimed the threat was gone, hoping the public would forget the terror that held the city hostage for over a year. But the families of those who vanished never forgot. And decades later, an archivist digging through old, forgotten basement records made a discovery that changed everything. a secret ledger from 1912 that was never meant
the
to see
Atlanta
the light.
Ripper. More than a century later, the question still haunts historians. Some believe the secret ledger proves a massive cover-up, that the Phantom was a prominent figure, a man of immense wealth and influence, whose exposure would have torn the city's elite apart. When the authorities finally discovered the truth, they didn't arrest him. They quietly handled the situation behind closed doors, protecting the status quo. Others theorized that the Ripper was just getting started and simply moved his hunting grounds to another state, changing his name, his patterns, and his disguise, leaving Atlanta behind, but continuing his dark journey elsewhere. Today, the modern streets of Atlanta look completely different. The old gas lights are gone, replaced by bright neon and towering skyscrapers. But if you walk down the historic districts late on a Saturday night, when the heavy southern fog rolls in and the streets fall silent, you might still feel a sudden chill down your spine. The mystery remains unsolved. The shadow remains nameless. What do you think really happened to the Atlanta Ripper? Let me know your theories in the comments below.